Fragments of Silicon, boldly tagging in, even in the face of no-shows. All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon Daylight interviews. Right, joining us this week is Łukasz of Juggler Game.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Doing all right. Just fresh off of watching the Nintendo Direct that happened not too long ago, like literally an hour and a half ago at time of broadcast or something like that. Anyway, let's get into things. How we like to get started is we like to get to know the people behind the studio, the games, and all of that sort of business. And we begin that journey by asking this particular question. What got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
I've been like a fan of video games since childhood. This was something I was doing through all my life. But on the professional level, I've started in the business 16 years ago when I was hired as a junior producer in CI Games. Back then, we were working on adventure games, so some Nintendo DS games, and very cheap shooter games. So this was my very early beginning, years before the Juggler games.
Don't really have a lot of knowledge base of that particular era of CI games. I mostly remember that name from the Sniper Ghost Warrior franchise.
Yeah, that's the correct. I was working on the Sniper Ghost Warrior. I was one of the producers and designers of this project. I was working on the first Sniper Ghost Warrior and later on the second one. And I left the company somewhere around when they were working on the third installment of the series.
Was there any particular reason that precipitated your departure, or was it just you wanted to do other things?
Back at this point, I was more than 6 years in the company, and there were a lot of internal turmoil. A lot of people were leaving the company, and honestly, CI Games at that time was a rather stressful place to work. So it's ended at during the Sniper Ghost Warrior, and I was started looking for different opportunities.
Okay, so where did you end up after CI Games?
Actually, for a year, I worked for the company that was making the high quality marketing materials, art, and movies. But after this, we actually started Juggler Games. With two friends, we had an idea, and we were looking for options to finance this endeavor, and it actually took us almost a year to make all the preparations before we could actually start making our first game. We managed to do it, and we started the company more than 10 years ago.
So you've been at this particular thing quite a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and indeed, from what I've been able to gather here, the first game that Juggler Games put out was a title called My Memory of Us.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, so for the uninitiated, what is this title?
Oh, it's a game. It's a game about friendship. It's a game that is about the boy and the girl. They are living in the like a fairy tale world, but you can clearly see that this world was inspired by history, by real events, and it was a World War II, and the events that took place in Poland. So the game actually touches on the stuff like Holocaust, the how the Jews were treated during this time, but it's all done in this fairy style art, and all those events are retold as like the Nazis are presented as the evil army of robots, stuff like this.
Yeah, I remember playing the demo of this some time ago. And yeah, it's a curious title, not gonna lie, because on the one hand you got this very cutesy art style, almost something that looks like Cuphead or something, but also dealing with, some of the darkest moments humanity has ever produced.
Yeah, that was the point, to tell this story in a way that would be universal and understandable for as many people as possible.
A lofty goal. Do you think you accomplished it?
Actually, based on it's not like only my opinion. I'm telling this from the perspective of the feedback we received.
Okay.
That the game was for the most part very well received, and people liked it. People were able to read into this. To be honest, over years after we released the game, we were contacted at least few times with by the people who were working on their sorry, I'm missing the word. They were doing research on certain subjects, how the history is presented in the games. So they actually interviewed us, and we became the part of those published work and their research.
Hmm. I suppose that does back a question on its own here, and that is, what sort of research did you guys do?
You know, we are the company that is set in Poland, in Warsaw. So it's kind of a living history here. We had family members. Maybe not right now. It was like 10 years ago, but a lot of us had stories within our families. We are learning about this in school. So this is, like I said, sort of the living history for us. It was kind of easy and natural for us to dig into this, but also we've been reading about those events, researching this through the books or online materials to like fill the gaps, especially like stuff for visual elements when we were researching the old Warsaw, the architecture and elements like this.
Hmm.
The game is, of course, a fictional story, but elements and bits and pieces are inspired by true events. And during the game, you can actually meet the actual historical figures, but of course, recreated in the style and the storytelling of our game.
Right. And it seems like at its heart, it's a love story?
It was never intended to be actually a love story. It was intended as a friendship. It was the friendship we conceived as something like those are young kids. Like when we were thinking about them, the boy was like 10 or 11, the girl was like 13 or something like this. It's never mentioned directly in the game, but this is something how we were thinking about them. So this is the friendship that if the circumstances were different, it may be someday change into a romantic relationship. But at this point, it's just purely a friendship between those two.
That is an interesting perspective to take because, well, not for nothing, but you know, boy girl, pairing usually defaults to the romantic in like so many stories.
Yeah, I know. What we kind of like always on everything we were working with this game, we were thinking about them as a friends. Like they're helping each other, they are going through all of those adventures together, but there is no romantic element between the two in entire game. Well, maybe at the very end there is this suggestion that if the events took different route, there could be something, but nothing else like this. It's a game about friendship, really.
That is good to know. And also, gonna word this carefully. It is nice to see something very positively reflected at this time because um there are other World War II games. There are other World War II games that do not this art style, but this black and white thing. Like I'm trying to remember the title. Like This War of Mine comes to mind. The Valiant, and like Through the Darkest of Times. But those are all much more serious affairs dealing with like the horrors of war itself.
Yeah, the war itself, not peacetime goings on, people getting swept up into it.
Not necessarily. Like Through the Darkest of Time was very much about people getting swept up into things. But it was a lot more impersonal. But that's getting off track here. Anyway, so it seems like the game was well received. How did it do in the marketplace, sales wise?
It was average. The initial sales were actually below our expectations. The reviews were good, but yeah, it was average. Over the years, we actually sold a lot of units of this game, but of course, in sales and stuff like this, so it's it wasn't a success.
That is unfortunate. Like, though it sounds like it wasn't a studio killing affair, at the very least.
It was almost studio killing affair, to be honest. Like I said, we are working in Juggler games for more than 10 years right now, and it's not an easy market. And we are not working only on video games, especially in the recent years. We are doing all sort of different work for hire, and also the projects that are completely not connected to games, video games at all. Like we are working with applications for interactive applications for museums. Like training stuff for different companies. So yeah, it's interesting. We don't always do games, but you are doing what you have to stay alive.
Right. Right. I mean, it's a tough business out there. especially in recent times.
Yes, it is.
Like, so how big is Juggler Games at this stage of life? Like you mentioned, it was like 3 people in the beginning. How many people do you employ now?
We are around like 10 people full time, and there is also a bunch of people, satellite people, who are working for us from time to time. Depends on what projects we have and what work do we need. But so the full time around 10 people right now, and over the years it fluctuated based on what projects we were making and what we were able to support actually.
Right. That makes sense and is fairly standard in the industry. And indeed, speaking of further projects, we got 2 of them here. In Tarnished Blood and The Whims of the Gods. I suppose we'll talk about Tarnished Blood first, because this game is out, if only in early access, that is still a release. So, once again, what is Tarnished Blood?
Tarnished Blood is our approach to a different approach to turn-based games, and it's an attempt to kind of redefine what the turn is in such a games. Because in Tarnished Blood, you can actually the turn takes certain time, and you can plan on timeline what your characters will do, what actions they will take, what movements they will make, and all of this mechanics is part of the. It's like a kind of Dark Souls type of world with big monsters, a lot of dangers all around, and there is a group of your hunters, your people who live in the village and have to go outside of this village to this dark world to actually hunt those creatures, to get resources, to get better weapons and be able to survive another year and learn a bit more about the secrets of this world.
Right, and looks like this game is a 2D affair?
Yes, it is. It's a 2D game with the view like typical for the like platformer games. And like I said, it's a turn-based game where the players using their small team of hunters, up to 4 characters, to hunt all sort of big crazy creatures with bunch of different tactics and attacks, and that's how it's built.
I will say, if nothing else, that is a very innovative branch to bring Souls-like gameplay to.
Yeah, it was actually heavily inspired by the board game, the Kingdom Death Monster. That was one of the inspirations, and Dark Souls, of course, as well, but with like our own touch to this idea.
Now, is this a turn-based RPG?
It is a turn-based game, but it's a game when, like I mentioned, the turn takes a certain time, and all the characters is moving simultaneously. So not like in like XCOM when everyone is moving one after another and after another. Everything will happen simultaneously. So basically, during your turn, you can actually look through the entire timeline and see what the monster will do. And based on this, you can plan and time the movement and attacks of your characters to avoid his attacks and actually hit him where it hurts.
That sounds very involved. Like, how do you keep track of all that?
So what you have, your main tool during the planning is the timeline at the bottom of the screen. This is allowing you to like scroll through the entire turn and see what will happen. So when you are like planning the jump of your character at the beginning of the turn, you can scroll through the timeline and see where he will actually go during the available time, and during this jump he may get close to the monster, and this is good moment to use the attack. So you are stopping on the timeline and planning the attack on this exact moment. And you have you have all the freedom to move through this timeline. You can go forward and backwards to see what will happen. So this is like the main tool to be able to do the planning and eventually win the fight.
Hmm.
This is something you have to actually like try and learn a bit to understand. It's very hard to describe with words, and because like everyone is telling us that this is a unique game, like you said at the very beginning, and the description may be hard. It's worth trying by yourself.
I suppose it's worth mentioning that there is a demo of this game available on Steam.
Yes.
So those who would want to try this out can do so. It sounds like that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. I do recommend this before buying the game. Like, I want everyone to buy the game, but still, this is something like it's not typical. So I do recommend trying the demo and learning the basics and see if it's something you like before you actually buy it.
Yeah. And how did this come about? Like, where did the inspiration to create such a package spring up?
Well, it's as usual. It's a mixed bag. Like at the time we were working on this idea, it was like the second designer of this game. Like on this game, eventually he became the lead designer. He is the great fan of, like I mentioned, the Kingdom of Monsters and overall boss battler games. He's a fan of Dark Souls and everything. So this angle came from him. But also we were working on the idea, like in Poland a few years ago, there were like government grants for video games, but you have to like show them something innovative, something different to actually get this grant. So we were also looking for the idea that we could present and like get this grant to eventually make the game reality. So those two elements connected, like we have the love for this type of dark games, and we need something innovative to show. So we were like looking for the ideas, and it came out with this. Like this is exactly like what I said at the beginning. This is exactly the tagline we were working with: how to redefine a turn in a turn-based game. This was our like tagline, our hook for this idea.
And how long has it been out in early access at this stage?
It's less than a year, and if I remember correct, late last year we released the game into early access. Since then, we've fixed a ton of issues, a lot of balancing. We also released some additional mechanics, additional elements like training grounds. We added additional monster to the game. We are working right now on more on finalizing stuff, like polishing the story elements, adding outro to the game, adding more events, the random events that player can encounter before he will fight with the monster, stuff like this.
And what's been the feedback so far from those who have been engaged with Tarnished Blood here?
Well, we have small group of fans, but rather engaged with the game. They played a lot, and people are creating the challenges for themselves, even stuff like this, like how to make it's a rather hard game, honestly, especially before you catch how the mechanics works, how to build a tactic to defeat a monster. So at first it can be very challenging. So we have a very nice group of fans, and overall very positive reviews. Even if you take a look on a Steam page, it has more than 90% of positive reviews, even though there is not that many of those reviews.
And what is the stage of development at this point?
We are on our path to actually release the game as a full product. So that's why we are looking at closing and polishing elements, filling the blanks, extending certain catalogs like events I've mentioned, and we are looking also at the options to create versions for other platforms, but this is still in progress.
Right. One thing at a time, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Anyway, probably best to switch over to the third game here, and indeed, chronologically speaking, your latest title, in that this is it just in development. It has a demo, but not much beyond that. But anyway, that's The Whim of the Gods. So what's this one?
And this one is another skip to a different genre, because this one is a city builder. This is a city builder that can be played in co-op. And what's I think it's important about this co-op in our game, if you look for the games, if you find any cooperative city builders, there will be built around the idea like you have your city, I have my city. We can do certain stuff to cooperate, but that's it. In our game, both players are building the same city. They have split responsibilities, and they have to cooperate to build one big prospering city.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of if any other city builder has had that spin on city building. Nothing's come to mind. I remember SimCity 2013 having the neighborhood system, which is what you mentioned, kind of a passive connection there in online world, but directly building alongside another player.
Right now there is few examples I can point out that doing somehow similar stuff to what we are doing, like the Pioneers of Pagonia. They've added cooperation, but this is fully symmetrical cooperation. You are building like one city, but every player engaged can do everything. We used kind of different approach. Like I said, we kind of split responsibilities between the players in the way that none of the player can build all the buildings. So you have like I will use the example from the game. Yeah, we both have to produce food to make everyone to keep everyone alive. Yeah, but in our game, this responsibility is split. Like I am producing stuff from plants. I'm planting, harvesting, and making foods out of this. And you will have to take care of animals husbandry, like milking and all the produce from the animals, the butchery and stuff like this. So we are both producing food, but in a bit different way, and like the production chains and everything, they are like moving between I will need stuff you produce and you will need stuff I produce. So we are constantly have to cooperate to actually achieve the success.
Okay. Was there a specific reason that you sought to do a co-op city builder?
It maybe wasn't a specific reason, like when we started designing this game, we were looking at our very first inspiration for this game was actually the myth of Noah Ark from the Bible. So we were imagining this like, as we know from the myth, it's like it's a guy with his family building this huge ship, and he's almost doing this on his own. But what we were thinking, like to build such a thing would be an effort of the entire community. So like our very first visualization of this idea was like this great ship standing in the middle of the city with the workshops, buildings, residence, and stuff like this, and this big ship standing in the middle of the city. This was our very first idea from where we started designing this game. And as you can see, based on our previous titles, we are always trying to get something more, some spin on this. So we were like thinking, okay, there is a lot of city builders on the market. What we can do to make our own stand out? And we are analyzing a bunch of ideas, and we came out with, okay, the co-op games are popular, and there is basically no city builder co-op. So let's try to do this.
Yeah, I can see the logic there. That's very definable, but it's like it's also, I suppose, a bit odd that nobody's tried to make that push before now. Like,
I know why now. Because to make a city builder game in cooperation, it's hard both on design side and on technical side. It's actually on many levels the challenging project. I will give you the simple example. It's not a technical example. It's a design example. Like, let's say you have the city builder for one player, and if I tell you there is like 40 buildings to build, you will be fine with this. Like, oh, it means plenty of workshops, factories, and all other stuff to build. It will take me hours to actually go through all of this. But right now, I'm giving this game for 2 players. If I just split these 40 buildings between the 2 of them, it's like not that impressive anymore, right? So suddenly you have to both create more content to make it like enough for the 2 players to make them engaging, to make it engaging, and also it means there is like more mechanics to implement, more elements that you have to take care of, balance and everything. So yeah, I kind of now better understand why there is not much games like this, because they are pretty hard to make.
Well, when situations like this arise, I like to ask this question. If you had to do it again, would you change anything? Would you do anything different? Would you still go through with it?
I would still go through with it, but right now, based on my experience, I know where I would like trim the idea down a bit with some elements. I will just remove it from the scope earlier in the project to avoid like certain traps and dead ends.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Scope is a very slippery thing.
Yeah, it's always look good on paper. Like you can write down everything you want, and it's like from my experience, it always looks like it's not enough. It won't be enough for the full game. We have to add something more, and the paper likes it.
Well, I mean, that's like something if you're developing not necessarily a live service game, but something with a roadmap. You know, like there's content patches and drops that happen with the game every so often. Like SnowRunner comes to mind. But anyway, where is this game in terms of its development?
It's like the game is like 70 to 80% complete in the way like we have all the core mechanics inside. We have basically all the art done. We are still like putting everything together, fixing issues, balancing, polishing, and looking for the ways to improve. We are also looking for the feedback from the players. We already, like you said, we have the demo available, and we are thinking about updating this with some new elements. And we also did some playtest rounds on Steam, so we were gathering a lot of feedback, and like based on this feedback, there is still plenty of space for improvement.
And are you seeking to do an early access release of this game?
We are still considering options here. It's highly possible we will go with early access because, like I said, it's a complex game, and like many city builders, if you take a look on the market, many city builders are going this route, especially to make the game as good for the players as they can, because like we are, like I said, the team of 10 people, so we can like test, experiment with certain things. We can like improve our ideas, but every time we are like inviting the players, there is still stuff we didn't think of, we didn't consider. So for that complex games like city builders, the early access road is something that can benefit them.
And should you go forward with that, do you have any sort of like timeline here, like when you would want to release that?
I don't have a strict timeline for this right now. We are still consider possible dates that would be good for our game, and we are considering also amount of work that is still left for us. We are working with the publisher on this, So right now, really, I cannot confirm any date.
Okay, fair enough. That does get into a meta question, I suppose, and that is, how are you handling the development of both this and Tarnished Blood simultaneously, given the size of your studio?
Well, because of the stage of both games, how developed they are, there is a very small core team working on Tarnished Blood, because there is, like, at this moment, there is not like we have to build big systems or create a lot of art for Tarnished Blood. So we are focusing on finalizing, polishing stuff. So there is a very small core team working on finishing this, and the rest of the team still working on the of the gods and on polishing stuff for this project. There is more work on this one, so the bigger part of the team is engaged with this one.
Okay, that all makes sense. And going back to Tarnished Blood, because there's something I forgot to ask, and that is in terms of pricing. Given that it's an early access title and how these things go, is $20 going to be the price of the 1.0 release, or is this going to increase?
Yeah, most likely we are not going to change the price when the game releases in a full version. I know there are other projects who do this, and sometimes I personally agree with this. Like, there is a big jump in content when they are going to 1.0, and I can kind of understand it. Like, let's get an example, the biggest example of this, like the Baldur's Gate 3. So yeah, like, I understand, but in our games, knowing what we are still working on, we will probably stick to the same price we have right now.
Indeed. And would you be looking to bring the Whims of the Gods to other platforms after that reaches its release?
Oh yes, definitely. We would like to have the console version of this project, but like, honestly, this game have to first prove itself on PC. So, like, on the core platform for city builder games, and then if it works, if it has the audience, we can actually work on the console versions, because, like, that the controls for the city builder games are complex, so the console version will have to have a lot of custom solutions for it to work on a controller.
Yeah, it's a big reason why I'm not too fond of city builders on consoles. It's one of those genres that, yeah, my personal view, it's best played with a mouse and keyboard, but I know such things can be nuanced.
Yeah, technically speaking, I agree with you. Like, I'm the PC player, but if you take a look at the numbers, like, go and check the Frostpunk, which was released on consoles. They had a good numbers, so there are players who want to play games like this on consoles. So why not give it to them?
Well, and
Unlike
with
usually
modern PC, I can also see with now that we have things like the Steam Deck, so you can check on your city while you're away, but that doesn't really have a nice way to pull out a mouse and keyboard for it.
Yeah, that's another reason to actually think about adding the controller support, because, like, the Steam Deck is important for a lot of people. for whom it became like a primary platform to play games. So they are looking if the game is compatible with Steam Deck, of course.
Right. And I suppose rolling this conversation back to your first game, because my memory of us has been released on other platforms, like mobile devices and the Nintendo Switch. Did you do you handle console development and mobile development yourselves, or do you contract out for that?
No, we are working with other companies on creating the versions for other platforms. So no, we are not doing this internally.
Fair enough. About what I expected, given once again size considerations. Some people do this, some people don't. And I suppose my final question is, in terms of computer platforms, do your games are they Windows only, or do they support Mac and Linux as well?
Most of what we work on works PC only. If memory serves, Tarnished Blood should support Mac as well, and my memory of us for sure supports Mac. And for the Whims of the Gods, we'll see.
Fair. Right. So I think I've run through my gamut of questions, so I'll turn it over to my colleagues here to see if there's anything they wish to ask.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, the stuff that I've heard since I got here, I think I understand, and I'm afraid that I did end up missing the beginning, and I don't want to ask about something redundant, so.
Fair enough. All right, then. All right, Lukansk, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being with us here today to talk about your games. It's been a very enlightening conversation. Hopefully both Tarnished Blood and the Whims of the Gods fare well, and continue on with their development unabated. So, at any rate, the games are Tarnished Blood, and you can get that in early access right now, or try the demo. It's retailing for $19.99 USD, and the Whims of the Gods has a demo out on Steam as well, so you can go and try that at this moment in time. And you can also go wishlist it, which, as I understand it, helps these projects.
Yes, it helps a lot.
Yeah. Right then, so that'll about do it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. As always, be sure to join us for the Sunday reviews, and until then, I shall wish you good gaming.